Welcome to the Hub. We can proudly say how district politics has been adjusted to invest in local communities with hubs around the country.
The hubs has been developed with the United Nations Sustainability Goals, which with a focus on number 1, less poverty, number 4, quality education, number 8, decent work and economic growth, and number 11, sustainable communities and cities.
Back in 2021, we made an iceberg model map where we analyzed what defines a district and then SIP analyzed it to get a better understanding of what the problems were. Zooming in to what lies beneath the tip, we understood the pain points and where the opportunities lie.
With the Zoom, we categorize the problems and the symptoms by immigration and aging of the population, a lack of diverse demography, industries and communities dying out, districts depending on cities, conflicts, big debates and political games, centralization, municipal amalgamation, and businesses relying on subsidizes without evolving. District politics used most of its resources to straighten up these symptoms. But what was the root cause? There's no doubt there is a need to take a deeper dive to investigate these problems.
When doing a deep dive, we used the cross-scale model. This was adjusted from ecological sustainability to district politics. Now, by zooming in on the smallest scales, what if the green chemistry of the district politics was soft aspects such as feelings, needs, and ideas, and the raw materials, things like communication and engagement? This helped further understanding what could be the roots.
Zooming furthermore into donut economics, mankind's challenge of the 21st century was to ensure that no one falls short of life's necessities, from food and housing to healthcare services and political voice, all while ensuring that we do not collectively exceed our pressure on Earth's life support system, as a stable climate, fertile soil, and protected ozone layers. Back in 2021, donut economics were adjusted to also inform of necessities to actually live a sustainable, good life.
So by changing the ecological ceiling to emotional ceiling, using other sustainable parameters, not the toxic pollution and unstable climate, but what it means to live a sustainable, good life as a human, with the people in the center, and the feelings that occur of the social foundation in the districts, the political life, and what the effects are. It has actually made us feel unsafe and powerless and triggered a bad socio-cultural effect, polarization, and so on. It was necessary to zoom in on locals and how they feel together and alone.
Maslow's hierarchy of need is built in 3 main layers: basic need, psychological needs, and self-fulfillment needs. In 2020, there was an access to both food and houses, but there were still people who moved away. Trøndelag started to focus more on the psychological and self-fulfillment needs, also called soft aspect, by starting to ask questions such as, how do you feel?
So why do people move to centralized places? They want to self-actualize themselves. From an individual perspective to a collective perspective, asset mapping was used to look at what kind of public or private services was offered in Steinkjer. As an example, Steinkjer is a small town and had a stable growth. We saw that life in a centralized place is flourishing with innovative culture, closer to power, more effective mobility and infrastructure, making everyday life more time-saving and attractive to live. This led us to people we found relevant.
Continuing this path, we undertook the interviews to understand the more important factors that are played into understanding it. Talking to locals, nurses, sociologists, district researchers, and more. Caroline Madsen and Tore Stubbe had a close connection and understanding of the local needs. On the other hand, Anja Gardium, Minister of Local Government and Modernization, had an overall view of innovation and economy. Bjørn Egil Flø, sociologist and district researcher, had a more objective view at the local attitude regarding city and district. The interviews made us aim for a higher trust and innovation in the districts. It made it apparent that there were not one route, but a whole forest. These routes that were holding back the innovation and trust were the parallels. Feeling of powerlessness, polarization, poor cooperation within and between municipalities, bygdedyret, mobility difficulties, the local that did not get anything back, and a lack of resources to start something new. With this deeper understanding, we took more advised choices and continued our research.
The routes led directly to the desired future, which back then was 2040. And we focused on those who already lived there, the locals. They needed security, local self-determination, the feeling of belonging, interdisciplinary collaboration, and of course to be heard, but also hard aspects such as better mobility, industry that benefited the local population and innovation culture, and also access to services. All this information boiled down to the bond between safety and trust, which can create the feeling of, well, belonging. And this leverage we presented led into the invention concept, the hub.
So, what is the hub? Let's go on the hub's website. With the bird's eye view, the hub creates a connected Norway, where the cities understand the importance and depend on their expertise in the districts, and vice versa. Codependency is the key word here. We connect Norway, both districts and cities, the competence and the people in it. Now you can live where you want, regardless of your profession. Well, most professions. The hubs are located in the districts. They can connect several municipalities together, making a cluster of hubs with a lot of different expertise. Peripheral communities with niche industries create stronger identities with smaller hubs. This way, cities can see the value of contacting districts with specialized in industries to gain expertise. In 2021, they felt powerless in the districts. Now, in 2040, hubs establishes local self-determination, and the locals are being heard and valued.
To further looking at the hub from a frog's view, it facilitates collaboration amongst locals, businesses, districts, and mobility in the form of where you can work. The hub is mainly a work arena during the day, but also opens up for other services such as concerts, lectures, cafes, and other things that happen in the evening. At night, it can be more dynamic and transform to a social place where you can meet friends, have a drink, or just chat, covering both work and social needs. The hub map. This map shows the richness of what the hub can provide for both soft and hard aspects, solving soft aspects with a hard solution, the hard truth. To build a hub, we have made an easy to follow building instruction that uses locals' buildings instead of building new ones, as they already adapted to the environment. By using older buildings, one can play on the local history and feel a sense of pride when using the hub. There are two different kinds of hubs. You have a big one and a small one. The bigger hubs are more general and are located in more densely populated areas, while the smaller hubs are more specialized and placed towards rural areas. These hubs have special meeting rooms that uses so-called smart windows. How do they work? Think of it as a large-scale online meeting. Instead of having two people connect, we have a room connecting into a different room as an extension. Just choose which hub you want to connect with and start. One mirror, many views. Now you can talk to anyone everywhere within the comfort of your hub, giving the feeling of sitting in the same room even if you're far apart. It is completely different from sitting at a PC screen at home. The hub also has a digital platform consisting of an app or a website. Here, users of hubs can connect with each other and the hub itself. You can talk to people you have connected with, book a meeting room, see which hubs are closest, or which events are happening, cafes and other services available to you. The hub also uses green credits. Having a meeting through a hub rather than traveling long distances will give a positive effect on your green credit score.
Now we will introduce 3 different hub stories. The first scenario, you meet Magdalena. She works as a freelancer IT consultant and she lives in Trondheim. This is Kåre. He's a fisherman and he's from Hitra. Magdalena gets a new assignment that requires fishing skills. She contacts Kåre on the hub app and offers him the job. They decide to meet at the hub. After one day of work, Kåre started to talk about the project with others. Some of them want to collaborate and they decide to book a new meeting on the hub. The new crew develop a friendship and decides to stay at the local cabin for some weeks together.
So at scenario 2, we meet Lloyd, a local farmer from Hitra, and a lady named Laila, a worker from Telenor. She has a cabin at Frøya, and she stays there for 100 days a year and loves to take her work with her. And we also meet 2 students who live at Hitra as well, but studies at NTNU, which is located in Trondheim. They all use the self-driven cars to commute to the hub for work. The students get in contact with Lloyd. Lloyd needs help for modernizing pig farming, and Laila from Telenor joins the conversation, and they all start to share their thoughts and opinions and start to make innovation culture.
The third scenario shows the multifunctional and social aspect of the hub. It shows how different people can connect, make food, and just socialize.
The hub connects districts to Centrum and vice versa, making stronger connections between municipalities and also how it can connect to different countries. But what are the effects in long term? What will be the effects for the locals and the districts itself?
Firstly, the big hub. The big hub created floating borders between municipalities through, for example, networking and meeting others. The long-term effect of this can remove, for example, bygdedyra. Now, for the little hub, it is more specialized than the big hub, and the ripple effect has been that the locals have more pride in their district identity and traditions. The long-term effects of this might be more motivation to participate and to innovate. And what else? Well, the nice thing about a multifunctional place like the hub is that it is a place for everyone, to make people closer socially and locals having new services available. In the long term, more services may appear around the hub, making it an even richer area for the locals.
To compare the 2020 working situation to the working situation today, you can see that Mia is more flexible. She can meet different and new people, and she is able to select when and where she shall work. The goal of regional and district policy in 2021 was regional balance through growth power, equal living condition, and sustainable regions throughout the country. This was largely done through direct money transfers in the form of various financial incentives and substitutes. The solution that was in 2021 was directly treatment of symptoms. Despite the substitute, we faced eviction, a uniform population composition, and cornerstone companies. Imagine that they were pursuing a policy that does not require standing on their own 2 feet, but only a policy that makes the district dependent on the state. From 2021 until today, 2040, the state has changed its focus from dealing symptoms to attacking roots by taking care of people who live there from before, by investing in them. This will benefit society as a whole and create vibrant communities and floating district and regional borders, and how this will provide a socio-economic gain.
In 2040, the state invests in the locals, as Martine said, while back in 2021, they invested in correcting symptoms with direct subsidies to different industries and other economic incentives so people could live there. In 2040, the state has invested in the districts to make their own identity stronger corporations and codependence, making them stand on their own feet. So zooming into this model, we see that the state has restructured subsidy money and financial incentives to invest in hubs around districts and Norway as a whole, which connect several regional places together. This will provide a socio-economic benefits. By investing in the hubs, the state makes it doable to live in the districts and still be able to connect and have your work or studies nearby. By establishing these hubs, we allow the brains to stay in the districts, making them full of competence and intellects. By having these multifunctional places creates more fluid municipality boundaries. People from different places create closer ties and greater codependence. It strengthens competence and information flow, and that municipalities can cooperate with each other, both bureaucratically, at company level, and not at least socially. The hubs will push innovative ideas in the districts by cross-connecting disciplines, and people will make new businesses and making old gold to new gold. Cross-connection is value creating and delivers living and vibrant districts for the future. This creates value for Norway as a whole.
So before we end, cross-team connections. How does the hub relate to the other ongoing projects? T1, collecting voices. Using the hub as a platform for people to speak up makes use of the communication aspect of the hub and gives a platform for the people that wish to be heard. T2, an information node. Heimhallen is full of information and resources. As they have a lot of people in the field, they can report back to Heimhallen using the hub. In the same way, you can retrieve information from Heimhallen using the hubs. Courses and lectures can also be expanded upon by streaming them to the hubs. T3, culture and food. Using the hubs to promote local culture and food will enrich the experience and stay at the hubs. T4, expanding out and in. Specialized hubs can be placed offshore, opening for outside actors to explore the communities that wouldn't otherwise have been there. Now that they can get in touch with inland-based districts as effortless as they can get in touch with coastal districts, it will open up for new relationships. T6, commuting and infrastructure. Connecting the self-driving cars to the infrastructure, to the hubs, makes commuting to and from the hub easy. And if you're out on fieldwork, you can stay at the cabin and use the hub for social and work-related activities. So by looking at overlapping factors, we can see ways to strengthen each other.
Now in 2040, as a result of restructured and regenerated district policy, we have a living district that are healthy and sustainable and are flourishing more than ever before. The overall picture of all the cross-team connections contributes to a country consisting of floating borders, a population that can holiday and work wherever they want, and live and make choices based on greener opportunities.
What will the next 20 years be like? Then we will be in 2060. Will district and regional boundaries be erased? And will we have the concept of district and regional politics then? Are we moving in the direction of a fluid picture of how we live and work? And will national borders also be erased in perhaps 100 years? And what will happen to the economical structures outside of Norway as EU and so on? This would be more interesting to look at for the next 20 years.